On day 16, we will be looking at sites in New Jersey and eastern New York State. We'll be following this route. We'll leave New Jersey and go to Patterson's Great Falls National Park, see Sunnyside and Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, drive to the site of the Woodstock Music Festival, and then drive up to Albany to spend the night. It's time for us to be leaving New York City and its area behind us and moving on to some new sights to see. Soon we're in Patterson, New Jersey, and looking at the old textile mills that used to be here. This was the beginning of the Industrial Revolution in the United States as they harnessed the waterfalls to make power to run textile mills. Patterson Great Falls National Historical Area is to remind us of the beginnings of those industrialization of the United States. Here you can see the falls, and this is the power station that they used to run those mills. These falls with their 71-foot drop not only powered textile mills, they had a Colt revolver factory here, the Rogers Locomotive Company, a center for silk production, and Thomas Edison had a center for research here also. This was the brainchild of Alexander Hamilton. And now it's time to pass some more of those mill buildings. They're being used now for schools and colleges and office buildings of various kinds. Now it's time to leave New Jersey behind us and head into New York State. We're crossing the Mariocomo Bridge over the Hudson River. And soon we're turning on the road to go to Sunnyside, the home of Washington Irving. We have tickets to go inside, but there's a problem. They're working on the road to reconstruct it after having had a flood lately. When we arrive at Sunnyside, the gate's locked. We tried to call and get no answer. We don't know what happened to our reservation. It does say advance tickets required, but we had advance tickets. This is the home of Washington Irving, and this is what it would have looked like if we could have gotten there. So now it's time to head on over to Sleepy Hollow and look at the cemetery there. And now we arrive in Sleepy Hollow. It was called Tarrytown until 1996 when they changed the name to Sleepy Hollow. As we arrive at the cemetery, we need to remember that the legend of Sleepy Hollow was fiction, but it was set in a real place. And this is the real place it was set in. We're going to enter here, and we're going to go over and look at the bridge, and then explore this area of the cemetery. Then we're going to go down to the old churchyard, which is all that was here in Washington Irving's time, and park and walk up to Washington Irving's grave. As we enter the cemetery, there's a modern chapel there. We then go driving around the cemetery some to see if we can find the grave. Not really sure exactly where it is, but we run into dead ends everywhere we go. Several famous people are buried here: Andrew Carnegie, Walter Chrysler, William Rockefeller. We finally figure out we can park down by the old church and walk up to Washington Irving's grave. It's uphill the whole way. Let's look at the church first. This church was built in 1697 as part of an estate. The legend was that the headless horseman tethered his horse here nightly. And down there is the stream that the bridge was over that Ichabod Crane encountered the headless horseman. This is the original bridge that was here, and it fell down, and now we have this one. Now it's time to go look at the Washington Irving grave itself, where he is buried. Also in this park is Olmsted's grave. This is the man who designed Central Park. Just driving down the middle of the road. We're just driving down the middle of the road, right? And it's time to cross the Hudson River again, and so we have to pay another toll.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child.
And soon we're turning at Bethel Woods Center for the Arts. This is what was left from Woodstock in 1969. They built an art center here with various concert venues and training facilities. This is what the area looks like now, and you can notice to the left the Woodstock stage area. That open area was where the people were. We're going to drive down there and look at it. And as we drive along here, to our right is where that open field is on the other side of those trees. And this is where the people set up on top of the hill. The stage was set up here where these rocks are, just on the other side of the fence. This hill was covered with thousands of people listening to the concert. And again, right here where we're sitting is where the stage was. And this red square is where we were parked looking up into the field. One more look at the Bethel Woods Center for the Arts, and then it's time to head on. We'll be spending the night in Albany when we get there. As we arrive in Albany, we go to the Quality Inn and Suites, Albany Airport, and check in and spend the night, thus ending day 16.